So our lesson is about parallelogram. So what is parallelogram? A parallelogram is a quadrilateral with both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Okay, so as you can see the figure below, the single and double marks indicate the congruent segments. What do you mean by congruent? Congruent meaning equal. So this single marks meaning this segment and this segment are congruent. And the double marks, this mark here and this mark here, they are congruent. While the single and double arrowheads indicate the parallel sides. So this arrowhead and this arrowhead, they are parallel sides, and this sides also, and these sides, they are also parallel sides. Okay, the same, this figure 2 and figure 3. Next. Okay, so we have here the terms related to parallelogram. We have consecutive sides and consecutive angles. What do you mean by consecutive? Consecutive meaning the successive, no? Successive sides or angles. So we have consecutive sides meaning these sides and these sides. They are consecutive, nagsunod. Nagsunod na sides and angles. Okay, that's it. That is an example of a consecutive sides and consecutive angles. The non-consecutive sides are also called opposite sides. So the non-opposite sides is this side and its opposite sides. They are non-consecutive sides. The non-consecutive angles, also called opposite angles. So you can choose opposite angles here. You can choose in what angles. Okay, so this angle and this angle are non-consecutive angles or the opposite angles. You also have diagonal. Diagonal or the segment connecting two non-consecutive vertices. The segment connecting two non-consecutive vertices. Okay, this is the diagonal. Connect two non-consecutive vertices. Okay. Okay, so try to look at the figure above. This is parallelogram ABCD, or in symbol, parallelogram ABCD. This is a symbol, ha? The symbol is like a small square, okay? So we are going to name the consecutive sides, at least 2 lang. So we have consecutive sides, for example, side AB and side BC, side AB and side BC. We also have side AB and side AD. So this symbol above the letters, this symbol is for side or segment. Next, we have consecutive angles. Consecutive angles or the succeeding angles, we have angle A and angle B, angle A and angle B, we have angle B and angle C, we have angle C and angle D, and angle A and angle D. They are the consecutive angles or the pair of angles that are consecutive or succeeding angles. Next, we have opposite angles. What do you mean by opposite angles? The opposite angles niya. So we have angle A and angle C. No? Angle A and angle C. And we have angle B and angle D. Angle B and angle D. Okay? Then the diagonals, we also have the diagonals, no? A segment connecting non-consecutive vertices. So our diagonals are segment AC and segment BD or DB. Okay. Next. So how are we going to identify if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram? So this is the definition. No? If a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, both pairs of opposite sides are parallel and congruent. As what I told you lately, no? That opposite sides are parallel and congruent. Then both pairs of opposite angles are congruent. Again, these opposite sides are parallel and they are also congruent. This is the opposite sides. Opposite angles also, opposite angles are congruent. Then all pairs of consecutive angles are supplementary. Okay, so let us recall what is supplementary. Supplementary is the sum of two angles equal to 180 degrees. So the pair of consecutive angles, meaning when two angles or the two consecutive angles the sum measures 180 degrees, so meaning they are supplementary. So all pairs of consecutive angles in a parallelogram are supplementary. Okay, next, look at this figure. Okay, the given, this typo error lang ni, the given is parallelogram if GHI. Okay, so what is the measure of angle H? Try to focus on the figure above. What is the measure of angle H? Again, parallelogram, no? The opposite angles are congruent. So, the measure of angle H we are going to solve. What is the opposite angle of angle H? Diba it is angle F that measures 55 degrees. So, meaning, the measure of angle H is also equals to 55 degrees because opposite angles are congruent. So angle F and angle H are congruent because they are opposite angles. Next, the measure of angle G. Okay, the measure of angle G, as you can see that our given is the angle F, which is 55. So angle F and angle G are consecutive angles man, diba? Diba consecutive angles are supplementary? Supplementary when we are going to add these two angles, the angle F and angle G, they are equal to 180 degrees. But the given is the angle F, which is 55. Then how are we going to solve the measure of angle G? The measure of angle G is equals to 125 degrees. The pairs of consecutive angles are supplementary. They are equal to 180 degrees. So 180 minus 55 degree is 125 degrees. Next, what is the measure of angle I? The measure of angle I is also 125 degrees because pairs of consecutive angles are supplementary. And the angle I is also the opposite of angle G, so they are the same in measure. Next, okay, find X, the segment FI and the segment GH. How are we going to solve? Diba the segment FI and the segment GH are opposite sides? So meaning the opposite sides are congruent. It means that this 5x over 2 is equals to 3x minus 2 because they are opposite sides and they are congruent. So we are going to equate them. Then 5x over 2 equals 3x minus 2. Then we are going to cross multiply. 3x times 2 is 6x, then negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. That's why our equation now is 5x equals 6x minus 4. Then combine like terms. 6x minus 5x is x, and 4 transpose 4, so positive 4. So our x is equals to 4. Then the fi is 5x over 2. we are going to substitute the value of x. We already solved the value of x man. So now we can identify now what is fi by substituting the value of x. So 5x over 20. The value of x is 4, di ba? So we are going to multiply 5 times 4, the value of x is 20, then over 2. So 20 divided 2 is 10. That's why fi is equals to 10. Therefore, also, the segment GH is equals to 10 because FI and GH are opposites and they are congruent. Okay. I mean, next letter E. FG, we are going to find the FG. So FG and HI are opposite sides, so they are congruent. So we are going to equate the equation. We have 3y minus 4 equals 5y over 2. Then cross multiply. We have 2 times 3y is 6y minus 4 times 2 is 8 equals 5y. Then 6y minus 5y is y, and then transpose negative 8 will become positive 8. So the value of y is 8, and we are going to substitute the value of y. We have here the equation 3y minus 4. 3 times the value of y, which is 8, minus 4. 3 times 8 is 24, minus 4. So FG equals to 20. The segment FG is equals to 20. And also the segment HI is also 20 because FG and HI are opposite sides and they are congruent, meaning the same. Okay, so we have here quadrilateral PQRS. PQRS with diagonal. The diagonal is segment PR. So we have here PQ. What is the symbol of this? What is this sign? This is the sign or a symbol of segment or side. So side PQ, this symbol is read as congruent. So side PQ is congruent to side RS, diba? PQ and RS are opposite, so they are congruent. And side PS is also congruent to QR. Okay, now we have an activities. In parallelogram tape or parallelogram TAPE, if angle T, this is the angle T, is congruent to angle P, and angle A is congruent to angle E, therefore the quadrilateral tape is a parallelogram because it is the definition of parallelogram, diba? The opposite sides and the opposite angles are congruent and parallel. Next activities. Okay, so determine each quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay, in this figure, is this a parallelogram? Yes, because the opposite sides are congruent, or there's a mark, a single marks indicated here, and this double mark. So this opposite are congruent, and this also opposite sides are congruent. So they are parallelogram. Okay, how about this? Okay, so the angle is 125 degrees, and the angle here is 125 degrees. This angle is 55 degrees. How about here? This angle is also 55 degrees because they are supplementary man. This consecutive angle are supplementary. They equal to 180 degrees. And the opposite sides are equal. So they are parallelogram. Okay, how about this third figure? Is this a parallelogram or not? Okay, the information is not enough to conclude that this is a parallelogram. Why? Why man that this information is not enough? It's because the given is the diagonal. Only these parts are congruent. So we don't know if the opposite sides are congruent. or parallel. So meaning this is not enough information to conclude a parallelogram. Okay, next activities. Solve for x. So in this is a parallelogram. The given is angle 8x minus 1, and the given of angle here is 11x minus 18.5. We are going to solve for x. So how are we going to solve for x? Since the consecutive angles are supplementary, di ba? Consecutive angles are supplementary. The sum of their angles, meaning we are going to add this. We are going to add this angle, 8x minus 1 and 11x minus 18.5. And we are going to equate it into 180. Why it is equals to 180? Because supplementary angles are a pair of angles that the sum is 180. Then let us combine like terms. We have the 8x and 11x. Then we add 8x plus 11x equals 19x, di ba? 19x. Then negative 1 plus negative 18.5 equals negative 19.5. So we have now the new equation. 19x minus 19.5 is equals to 180. Then combine like terms. We have 19x equals 180. We transpose or transfer negative 19.5 to the right side and become positive. So 19x equals 180 plus 19.5 is 199.5. And divide both sides by 19. So x is equals to 10.5. So that is now the value of x. Next. Okay, so we have here the terms related to parallelogram. We have consecutive sides and consecutive angles. What do you mean by consecutive? Consecutive meaning the successive, no? Successive sides or angles. So we have consecutive sides, meaning these sides and these sides. They are consecutive, nagsunod na sides and angles. Okay, that's it. That is an example of a consecutive sides and consecutive angles. The non-consecutive sides are also called opposite sides. So the non-opposite sides is this side and its opposite sides. They are non-consecutive sides. The non-consecutive angles, also called opposite angles. So you can choose opposite angles here. You can choose in what angles. Okay, so this angle and this angle are non-consecutive angles or the opposite angles. You also have diagonal. Diagonal or the segment connecting two non-consecutive vertices. The segment connecting two non-consecutive vertices. Okay, this is the diagonal. Connect two non-consecutive vertices. Okay. Okay, so try to look at the picture. Okay, so our next activities, we are going to solve for x and y. We have here the parallelogram given the sides, no? So first, we are going to solve for x. The opposite sides, 2x plus 6 equals to 3x plus 2. We equal these two sides because they are opposite sides and they are congruent. Then, combine like terms, we have 2x transpose positive 3x will become negative 3x equals to copy 2 and transpose positive 6 will become negative 6. So we have now 2x minus 3x equals 2 minus 6. So 2x minus 3x is equals to negative x and 2 minus 6 equals negative 4. Then negative x equals negative 4. We are going to divide both sides by negative 1 so that our x will become positive. And x is equals to 4. So our x now is 4. Then you are going to substitute the value of x for each side. So for y, we have the equation 7y minus 1 equals 5y plus 3. Combine like terms, we have 7y transpose positive 5y become negative 5y equals 3 transpose negative 1 will become positive 1. So we have 7y minus 5y equals 2y and 3 plus 1 equals 4. So 2y equals 4. Divide both sides by 2. So y is equals to 2.